Event number 2, 100 double unders, 20 toes to bar, 10 front squats at 225 for 5 rounds. Lucy, what are our Go Ruck steps to success?
So we're looking for relaxed and unbroken through those toes to bar and double unders so that we can keep a strong squat pace on the front squats and reduce that time and attention through the midline. Your starting lineup for heat number 2 for the individual men. Fabian Benito in lane number 9 has a history of slow starts to start the weekend, but he tends to charge hard towards the end. Yeah, he was in a similar position after the first event last year, 30th after event 1, but managed to come through and secure that spot for the game, so he'll be trying to do the same this year. Another athlete, Victor Hoffer, who has pretty much all the hype and momentum coming into this weekend. He's in lane number 1 to the 30th place start. Talked to his coach earlier this morning and said that's going to be his worst event. He's got 5 good ones on the horizon.
Stand by.
Win a CrossFit World Tour visiting CrossFit gyms around the globe. Create an account, scan the QR code, or visit hustleup-app.com to enter. And that's it. The drawing will take place on June 20th, 2024. You can see Victor Hoffer right there in the front part of your screen. He's right next to Fabian Benito, and Hoffer taking 30th place to start the weekend. But Lucy, with his skill set, there's about 2 events where he is basically the favorite to win those. Yeah, absolutely. He's got that home run potential on a few of the events coming up. The legless rope climb event, he'll be one to watch, as well as that handstand walk event. So he does have, you know, those big events coming. It's just that yesterday might not have still been the start that he wanted. And this event is a little bit of a question mark for him as well. Great on the double unders, as you can see, basically unbroken the entire way through. Toes to bar, not going to be an issue, but how is he going to handle that front squat bar is the big question for him. Absolutely, and as we saw with event 1, with heat 1, sorry, Jonna really held that pace, so he'll be looking to do the same. All athletes onto the 20 toes to bar, 100 total for this event. And in lane number 1, Yorgos Kervis, an athlete that has a lot of experience here at the semifinal level and CrossFit Games. And he is looking to try to make it back, as he's sitting in 3rd overall. As Victor Hoffer in the bottom part of your screen goes rep for rep with Yorgos Kervis. Yorgos made his rookie debut at the CrossFit Games in 2021. As Victor Hoffer is looking very good on that front squats. And if anybody doesn't remember, quarterfinals in 2023 had some heavy front squats with a lot of gymnastics, and Victor Hoffer actually had the fastest time in the world when it came to that. So Victor Hoffer looking very good after the first round of the second event with Fabian Benito, as Yorgos Kervis staying pace. But one round is a lot different in that second round. And Lucy, we talked about is like, all right, we had 1 day of competition, but only 1 event. Longer event, a bit fatiguing with the runs and the clean and jerks. How are you feeling when you're waking up this morning after that, getting warmed up and prepped for this second event? I mean, you would hope that with the amount that these athletes train, that they shouldn't feel it too much. I think they might feel it a little bit more after this workout with the amount of bounding. You know, 500 reps on double unders, that's no small amount. But again, you know, this is what these athletes train for. So if they're not prepared for that kind of volume, then, you know, you've got to question that. Victor Hoffer unbroken for the 2nd round in a row with the 100 double unders as he's working his way to the toes to bar. And you hear the cheers because their hometown hero, Victor Hoffer, just 21 years old. It's so interesting because it doesn't look, you watch Victor's reps and they look slow. They look very, very smooth, and one of the things about being so technical is that you make the hard stuff look easy. You know, bog standard everyday athletes in your affiliate, they would look at that and be like, you're doing 20 toes to bar, and 20 toes to bar, 100 reps in this workout, that's a lot of volume, and yet it looks so fluid. Victor Hoffer, bottom part of your screen, and Yorgos Kervis are basically rep for rep with Fabian Benito in 3rd, but let's go down to Lauren Smith with a little bit on Alex Catoulis.
time. Sorry, Chase. It's actually Giorgio who I wanted to talk about. He's had a 2023 filled with injuries, his lower back and his ankle, and he's been having a bit of a strange year away from CrossFit. There's some stuff going on at home, but his mentality is never give up. He's podiumed twice at the French Throwdown before, and I know this competition means so much to him. So to see him performing as well as he is in this heat and being out on the floor and not giving up, that's what's so impressive about this performance so far.
Jordas Kervis, Alex Katulis. We got the Greek part right at least, as Jordas is trying to keep pace with Victor Hoffer. And both athletes have yet to yield or show any chinks in the armor after 2 rounds. Victor Hoffer, part of your screen. 2 sets of the 2 rounds, all unbroken on these 100 double unders. As you can see, Yorgos Kervis in the very back in the green and black, as Fabian Benito on the right side in lane number 9 is sitting in 3rd.
It's really interesting to see actually where everyone's ropes are, where they're skipping on those mats, because some people clearly don't really want to skip on the mats. Victor Hoffer's rope is in front of the green mats that you're seeing. You see another athlete there. Georgios Karavis was off to the side, so you can see where different athletes are sort of more comfortable doing their double unders, or where they're used to.
It's still a race in lane 1 and lane 10 between Karavis and Hoffer. And Lucy, as you're talking about that, part of that is because the starting mat material is a lot more slicker and a bit harder than some athletes are used to if they're used to training on rubber matting.
Yeah, exactly. You know, what you are doing your double unders on can have an impact on how that rope hits the floor. I remember trying double unders on grass and I had an awful time. It just, you know, with this volume, you want to be as comfortable as possible.
And a first major lead change between Victor Hoffer and Yorgos Kervis, as Kervis in the top part of your screen has moved ahead, and that is because Kervis went unbroken on the toes to bar, where Hoffer is taking it looks like a deliberate break on those 20 toes to bar.
Yeah, we'll see how that pays off in these last 2 rounds, because that's where we start to see Jonna, you know, make those breaks and struggle through those double unders as well.
Kervis making his way back to the rig at the top part of your screen in lane number 10 at the bottom. Victor Hoffer rolls his bar forward as Kervis is getting back to his rope and chalking up before the rope. It's not that he needs it for the rope, it's that he doesn't have to take that transition time to the rig for the toes to bar, as he works into his 4th set of 100 toes double unders.
Exactly, it's good to see both of them jogging back to that rope as well. They're clearly starting to make that push towards the last couple of rounds.
Victor Hoffer is having a little trouble with these double unders, and Lucy, I'm looking at the wrist straps, and could that actually play a factor in just like catching the rope sometimes?
I think it's one of those things that you train, you know, if you're not used to it, then maybe, but it's likely that Victor trains with it like that. I personally am fine having it like that, but I do know athletes that will make the conscious choice to twist their grips around so that they are not in the way necessarily.
Yorgos Kervis, 29 years old, representing Greece. This is his 4th semifinal. Does have 1 event win in his career at semifinals as he works into the 4th set of toes to bar. And Victor Hoffer, for the first time in 4 rounds, is struggling on these double unders. It looks like the 4th break he's had, where in the first 3 rounds, all of them were unbroken.
And the difference is as well, it's not breaks, it's trips. So Jonna was breaking, whereas Victor is tripping, which means that that's not the intention here.
Kervis off the rig as Victor Hoffer, the bottom part of your screen, gets to the rig. Kervis chasing the time set by Jonakoski in heat number 1 at 12:20.41. And at the moment is on pace to move ahead of that, as Victor Hoffer in lane number 10 in the bottom part of your screen advances to the barbell. Just as Kervis is done with his and he will advance the bar into the last section and make his way back to the rig. He has 3 minutes and 20 seconds to best that time of Janikowski. And you can see in the back, Alex Catoulis is starting to make his way into third place in this heat as Karavis picks up his rope for the 5th time.
Catoulis is looking very strong on those front squats. 3 reps to go, but still Victor Hopper holding on to second grade.
Yogas Karavis. Been to the games twice.
You can see him having a look around as well to see where everyone else is. It's a good skill to have, being able to double under and just kind of scan the floor to see where you're at.
And this is his head as he looks very, very relaxed in this position.
Another unbroken set of his 100 double unders. This, the final round.
Past the 10-minute mark. Just over 2 minutes until you hit the time set by Janikowski, as Karavis is extending his lead on the rest of the field in this second heat. 2 more heats to go. As Karavis done, unbroken again for another 100 double unders. Karavis working his way to the bar. Last set of 20 toes to bar. Starting to lap the field at the moment. You look at the bottom right side of your screen was Victor Hoffer. It looks like he's doing much better on this set of double unders. And as I say that, he's taking a big break as Karavis is just smashing these toes to bar. And I don't think he's broke once in any round yet. And as we're at the 11-minute mark, he's got 1 minute and 20 seconds. Bottom left corner of your screen, Janikowski in heat number 1, 12:20.41. Karavis sitting in 30th place, sorry, 29th place after event number 1. Is looking to set the new time to beat here in heat number 2. Final 10 front squats, 225 pounds. 50 total reps.
See that pace start to slow down, but it looks like he's going to be good for beating Janikowski's score. He's got loads of time. There we go.
Got to sprint across the finish line a little quicker than that. You are not in the final heat, but Karavis will take the heat and set the new time to beat as the second Greek athlete is moving in ahead of Victor Hoffer, as Alex Catoulis in the center lane is looking to possibly beat the time by Janikowski. He has 3 reps to go, but 10 seconds to do it. Bar down, cross the finish line. Should be good enough. These Greek athletes got to stop walking across the finish line.
It's stressing me out.
Victor Hoffer will be done, but that'll be behind the time of Janikowski. Lane number 4, Lucas Racing out of CrossFit Jeunesse. Fabian Benito, 30th place to start. Should be good for 5th in this heat, but times from the previous heat will be starting to fall into play. As Janikowski was 12:20, Caleb Clemens was 12:53, and Tobias Fox was 13:17. So times from heat 1 are now starting to affect placing here in heat number 2.
13:23 unofficial.
And here comes Nicholas Arieltis in a race with Victor Helsinghoff.
Nicholas Arieltis in lane number 7.
That's a solid tash.
And next to him in lane number 8 is Victor Helsinghoff out of CrossFit Oslo. Sarah Leotis will finish just ahead As we are at the 14-minute mark, 18 minutes is the cap. 2 athletes left on the floor. That is Chevy Serra out of CrossFit Girona, working through his last set of 20 toes to bar. And Lucy, if we look at the performance that Yorgos just put up, it looked like he went unbroken end to end on everything. 2 heats left to go. You see that, you see the time. Does that not necessarily change the way you're going to approach the event, but does it at least give you a little bit of insight of what it's going to take to do well?
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't say that it, changes how you would do it, but it does add a little bit of pressure that if you do want to do well, that might be the kind of approach that you take. On a lot of the transitions back, he was running back towards, or jogging, let's say, back towards the rope. So, then it's about, okay, if I want to go faster, can I do some slow jogs to the bar rather than only back from the bar? Because obviously as we go through those rounds and you transition that bar further down the floor, that transition to the bar gets longer and longer each time. And so that actually does become a factor in terms of your timing.
Final rep across the finish line for Serra, as we had 1 athlete left on the floor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Grzegorz Marszewicz working to his final 10 front squats as Yorgos Karavis looks fully recovered and doing post-press interviews. Grzegorz Marszewicz wins the award of hardest name to pronounce in the men's field, which I affectionately like to call M-Dog, as he is trying to get underneath that 18-minute cap with a few reps left to go. And some athletes make this look light. This is more the reality of the situation of this weight for 50 total reps.
And I think that's also the impact of the toes to bar volume, seeing that curved upper back.
Congratulations to your heat winner.
Unofficial results, Yorgos Karavis setting the new time to beat at 11:42. Alex Gatulis just underneath that 12:20 mark from Jonakoski. Hofer out early, very consistent, unbroken, comfortable on the double unders as well as the toes to bar. But it was after the first couple of rounds, fell off a little bit.
Yeah, and we started to see Karavis take over in that sense. Smooth and unbroken throughout. Really good squat pace as well. Managed to resist the temptation to pause at the top of each rep. Then round 4, I think it was, we started to see those trips from Hofer, those mistakes start to creep in, and that allowed Karavis to extend that lead and pull away to finish.
Karavis setting the new time to beat here in heat number 2, 11 minutes, 42 seconds, .49.